fold that over and just catch the very edge of the front part of that. And so from here, I'm going to take a little bit of UV resin, use whatever kind you like, and I'm just going to smooth that into the material. And it's just basically, I'm just using this as a temporary thing. And you can see how it's kind of changed the effect of that dubbing that I've made with the yarn. It's kind of turned it a little bit smooth and translucent. Maybe the lighting's a little bit hard to tell exactly what's going on there, but it smoothed that fiber down really nicely. We're going to come in here with the UV light and cure it. I like to sometimes use the UV light to make sure that I've got all the fibers pushed down and smoothed in the way that I want. Okay, there we go. Now, if you've got it too long, you can just pinch off the end. Just do it in such a way that it's nice and natural looking. See the material here is very light and airy and pretty soft. You see how it's kind of bouncy there? And the way that this pattern works, it's really light, and when it lands in the water, it traps air in the top of this part of the body, so the hook will turn that fly upright as it sinks, and it sinks really slowly and just falls down and just a very, very awesome looking fly in the water. So we create another 5-inch, 4-inch dubbing loop. It doesn't have to be big because we're only going to cover from here to here now. Put in another half hitch. Put that out of the way. Get our dubbing loop tool again. Attach it to the thread. Another little bit of wax on there. Now, you can also use, if you want this fly to be a little bit more shiny and sparkly, you could use Harris Ice Dub in whatever color you like, and it's got a little bit of flash material chopped in there with it. It does a very good job too, and looks great. But I like this one here. It has nice wiry kind of texture to the material, and the short coarse fibers just kind of stand out in the water a little bit and make this fly look really buggy. It makes the legs just look very, very natural. So, as I said, we don't need a lot on this one. Matter of fact, we're going to end up cutting that thread most of the way away. So, I've kind of gone a little bit heavy here, but that's fine. Twist up that dubbing. There we go. Tease it out a little. Now, make sure that you cover all of the body of that fly as you move forward. Twisting. Okay, leave yourself a little space for a tie-in for the weed guard and the rest of the body material. Don't crowd the eye of the hook. We don't need that. So then, we'll just cut this out of the way. Tie that material down. Now again, we'll take the brush that material down. So we're going to come back again with some more of our dubbing material that came from the yarn. Just a slight little bit. We don't need a lot. Maybe a little bit more than that. Again, tie down at the middle section of that dubbing. Tie it in there. And just, again, smooth that forward. Now we're going to take a little bit of that UV resin over the length of that. We don't want to get it down into the bottom, the dubbing part of the fly, so let's just apply this really sparingly. There you go. Smooth it down. So again, we'll hit it with the light. Now when we're done with everything, we'll come in and coat that with the liquid fusion, and once it's cured, this will be not a hard shell, but a shell that it'll kind of be a little bit flexible, but it'll be firm in place, and we won't have to worry about that thing coming apart, because that Liquid Fusion glue is a great product. Okay, we're going to move the legs out of the way and work our weed guards forward. I'll put that back down there. Put our weed guards on either side here. That's the body material's popping up a little bit. We might need to go back with a little bit more of the UV resin to ensure that that gets in the place that we want it to be. Make the weed guards even where they're going to be an effective weed guard. And work, tie them down. Okay. Nice and even. You want to make it where the hook can get, they can get access to that hook. And from here we can go ahead and tie this off. Do a little whip finish there. Okay. Cut the remains of the weed guards off. And from here we'll put just a little dab of the super glue stuff on the thread wraps. Now, as I said, we're going to take care of this and put that down a little bit more UV on there, and just secure it in place so we don't have it coming apart on us. Probably an extra step that it's not really necessary because of the Liquid Fusion. We want to do right. Okay. Now I'll take, I like to use a brown marker. This happens to be a Prismacolor and Sienna Brown. And we'll take and make the markings on it for the shell, just to kind of give it the appearance that there's segments. Probably unnecessary, but I kind of do things that way. So, all right, from here we're going to focus our attention on working on the legs and making those actually look like legs. So what I do is I take a bodkin and I'll heat it up with the lighter. Get it nice and hot. This part takes a little bit of practice, because if you get it too hot, you can just burn right through the legs. And what we're going to do is we're going to take one that's going to be further to the back, and we're going to touch that leg to that hot bodkin and bend it around it a little bit. And we didn't get it quite hot enough to actually make a nice kink to it. But that's what we're looking for, is a nice little kink, just to give it the appearance of a leg. There are some shrimp patterns out there that people will use knots and just use an overhand knot and knot that. But I find that it becomes a little bit more fiddly to get the legs oriented in the direction that you want them to go, and you have to just take a little bit of effort to orient the legs once they're tied into the position that you want, and that's just kind of an aggravation to me, so I don't do it that way. Okay, there's two. You could do them two at a time, because you're going to have a pair that kind of match one another. A little bit more heat to the lighter. If it gets black, it kind of adds to the effect of the joint, so don't worry about the carbon buildup on the bodkin. There we go. As you can see, they look like shrimp legs. Now, some of you guys might look at this and say this just takes too long. Well, it's mainly taking this long because I'm explaining it as I go. And I've just kind of worked this pattern out into a pattern that I do it this way every time now. I've been kind of experimenting with it and figuring out exactly what I want to do, what step, where. And so chances are I could probably do this faster. and I'm sure that you could do it faster if you gave it some practice. So don't be intimidated by how long it's taken so far. So now we'll just come in and we'll cut the legs that are left here, and cut them where there's basically in pairs. And you want the back legs to be a little bit shorter than the front legs. So there you go. Okay. So from here, I'll take that same sienna marker, and I'll just kind of, darken those legs up a little bit. That way you can see them a little bit better from the distance. Of course, the fish probably can see them just fine if they were just totally clear, but I'm going to darken them up a little bit. Okay, there you go. So from here, all we're doing is taking a little bit of that liquid fusion and just coating this back part right there. My liquid fusion's just a little bit on the dry side. I've had it for a while, and for me, I kind of like it that way. See how thick it is, and I'll just take and put a little bit of a coat of it, not thick, thin coat. You don't want to add any unnecessary weight when it's dried to the fly. And as I was mentioning earlier, as this fly sinks, air gets trapped underneath of the shell part of this fly and makes it sink slowly, and looks great in the water. There you go, guys. 21 minutes. You can, like I said, you can work it down a little bit lower than that. If you wanted to, you can come back and darken the eyes with a little bit of black marker. But there you go. I don't know what I want to call it yet, but it's a shrimp pattern that I've come up with. Thanks.